Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is, how can I decrease or eliminate the addiction to a female psychopath? So really that speaks to me that you no longer want to be feeling the way that you feel around this person, or feel the way that you do even when this person is not present, that there's something inherently addictive or upsetting or disturbing to you that you don't yet have power or control over. And much like another addiction, like a food addiction or a drug addiction, the cravings will come in waves, or it'll be really create an obsessiveness or take up a lot of your mental energy or your focus. And getting a handle and getting control of your mental faculties and what you focus on and what your feelings resonate on is really where you start to detox from the addiction. So, addiction to a female psychopath, I would say, will come in many shapes and sizes. Namely, is the feeling that you get when you are around them. Usually, it is coupled with exhilaration, thrill, and fear. In other words, a propulsion to sort of be attracted and then repulsed simultaneously. Repulsion is because of the damaging effects. In other words, there's really something antithetical to your wellness, your success, your living in truth, and being empowered that is antithetical to what this person will permit. You can't simultaneously sort of living in an authentic life and empowered and simultaneously be addicted to this person. It's like oil and water. It does not mix. It does not go together. It causes you to be separated from yourself, feeling that you don't really maybe like yourself, embrace yourself, know yourself, or enjoy yourself or life or how you're feeling. The addiction really becomes one of agony and then tension and relief. But usually there's a feeling of incessant or intrusive thoughts. In other words, I'm thinking about this person all the time. And it might be, for a lot of people who are romantic, I mean, this might be pleasurable, but then it will become overwhelming. The reason, the need to see them, the need to talk to them. Why can't you respond to me? We need to be face to face. I just want to get together. I don't care what time it is. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care. I will do this. I will do that. I will, whatever the reason is, I will drive this. I will wear that. I will forgo this. I will pay that. So there's usually a certain elevation or a buzz, I would say, that people get addicted to, which is the neurochemical signature that is promulgated or stimulated by this person. So you have to look at and begin to understand where you are enabling this addiction. And oftentimes, if you're still under that gaslighting or brainwashing feeling that it can only be relieved by this person, that is part of the intoxication or the addictive effects. Just like I would probably think if someone's addicted to opiates, they're thinking that's all that I want. I don't want tea. I don't want coffee. So it really becomes, this is the only thing that you want, and will overwhelm and detract your life. So you really need to get a grip on the addiction and realize that this is part of the tools of the ruinous nature of the female psychopath, is to get you doing things that you ordinarily wouldn't do, oftentimes that are high risk behaviors, thrill-seeking behaviors, counteractive to boredom, things that you think are unwise but are just sort of at the limit. This is a challenge to boundary and standards. This is what they do. So that's usually at the seat of the addiction. So you have to understand, what does the addiction look like and feel like for you, and then be able to surrender that body-mind connection to that feeling. So you have to look at the payoff that you're getting from that hyper arousal. Does it make you feel attractive? Does it make you feel on top of the world? Does it make you feel strong and mighty? Does it make you feel like you have an axe to grind? What is the payoff? I feel loved. I feel devoured. I feel smothered. What, how? So get to know how you feel when you are in the throngs or in the throes of this addiction. I feel giddy. I feel, what are your feelings? So this is the addiction. And so this addiction usually is counterintuitive to your strength, your wellness, your reality, and what truly makes you happy. So it's a very cruel game, I would say, that the addiction plays, because it really replaces what you would feel is living the life of your dreams, living the life of your best life, living your purpose, living your passion. So oftentimes that is masked by the addiction to the female psychopath. It seems that they own that reality for you when nothing could be further from the truth. But that confusion or that gaslighting and brainwashing is part of the result of the gaslighting and brainwashing. So that is the end result. So unless you have encountered this, you really don't know what to look for. So you could not have really seen this coming. So it's kind of like getting your shoes in a knot, your shoelaces, and not knowing how you got it all in a knot, but you got to kind of either take the shoes off or undo the knot or something of that nature, because it is this sort of entanglement. I would consider it like a neurological entanglement that kind of confuses and creates this agitation. And although I don't have a brain scan, I kind of feel that that is the experience. If I could translate it into what you are feeling, realizing that it's not resulting in a path moving forward for you, that oftentimes there's a resistance to change, which is part of the addiction as well. So part of that is, so in other words, you lose connection with yourself. There's a severing of really what's in your best interest, the awareness and application of this. There's a disconnect. So you're not able to say, wow, well, I should have done my homework here rather than helping this. Or I should have been doing my work with my friends or my coworkers rather than worrying about and then having to take care of this. So if you can see and sort of look and tease out where you had been rerouted, either you thought it was in the name of love. So usually that's part of the problem. And understanding the paradigm is looking at how you interpreted it and how you gave into the addiction in the beginning, being willing to see it through clarity, where you derailed, and where is this not your weakness? Where was this you had no choice? And then interjecting free will and choice into the moment now, which means you're able to understand what free will looks like, feels like, and is experienced within you. So oftentimes there's a lack of autonomy, independence, and free will when you're under the throes of the addiction, or really sort of being overpowered or controlled by this person. I would say for a lot of our viewers, this comes in the form of a romantic interest. So the hyperarousal is of a romantic or sexualized nature, or this sexualized nature can be infused even though it's not a romantic relationship. This is part of the tactics, I would say, of a female psychopath, is that they sort of hyper arouse and sort of take things on and render people helpless, and then which leads to hopelessness because they take things away. They're sort of about taking away from you. And until you can realize the addiction is taking away from you rather than giving to you, you will continue to feed the addiction until you can see it for what it is and start coming to terms with neutrality, coming to terms with self-forgiveness, and beginning to value yourself. Because I would say part of the addiction is the corrosion of one's I am and their integrity and self-esteem. So part of it is the corrosion, which means the breaking down of your own values. So sort of dismissing these for the reward of something else, which is usually created. It's like an engineered chaos, which then replaces that within you. So you have to be willing to remove that and replace with the said reality, and not diminishing that or minimizing or making it seem less than, less exciting, This is actually imperative that you regain your sanity, you regain your senses, you regain your center, your focus, in a positive sense of self, and move away from the addiction. And realize that oftentimes the addiction is fueled not by the belief that, this is good for you, but it's really fueled, I would say, by the belief that I can't get control over this. So very limiting, self-limiting beliefs are at the fuel of addiction. So if you are still addicted, still controlled, still made uncomfortable by this person, then that will give you an idea of the degree to which you still feel threatened or are not yet computing and understanding that this person can just move on like a tornado until you continue to open up the door and allow, and say, come here, tornado, come here, and until you're able to shut the door 100%, even though you might not want to, you might have a real fondness for this addiction. You might have a relationship with this addiction. This addiction might have been good to you for some time. So there's this intermittent reward, which is very resistive to change, which is part of a trauma bond, which means, take the good with the bad, take the good with the ugly, or whatever, all these other societal norms that sort of go into feeding that. But really, what is it doing to you? Being allowed to make the call for yourself is being able to have a positive sense of self, where you can call yourself as the leader rather than the addiction the leader. That sway of power oftentimes takes time to reprogram, recondition, and then believe within yourself that you are somebody with a positive sense of self. You are influential. You are of positive influence. You do have a dream. You do have a purpose. You do have a passion. You do have a happiness to pursue. You do have the ability to look forward and dream and get excited for the pursuit of that. But it's very difficult to simultaneously own that reality while under the addiction. So you might look at the way that you then are seduced by the addiction, or court the addiction, or continue to foster the addiction. I would say just like the way an alcoholic would be romanced by the alcohol. If you hear an alcoholic speak, they'll talk about the white, the white Burgundy wine, the this and this, that, the champagnes. I mean, they'll have a love affair with the alcohol, with the addiction. So you have to look at the romantic ways that you're romancing the female psychopath, sort of romancing this image in the mind, but you're devaluing and you're crumbling yourself simultaneously. Look at what the addiction is doing. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that the videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Have a beautiful day.